All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Hope everyone had a good holiday weekend, good long weekend, and able to get a little bit of extra rest, maybe see some family and friends. And now the markets are back up. All right. Let's start off this morning by grabbing our calendar so we can see what we have in store for the week. All right. At 10 o'clock, we have a high impact news driver. Consumer confidence is coming out. Tomorrow, we only have a medium impact, the Richmond Manufacturing Index. So tomorrow looks like the only trading day this week without a high impact news driver. Now, there wasn't one yesterday either, and there was trading up until about, I think, 12 or 1 o'clock yesterday, but it was low volume, so you didn't see a large range or anything. And as we look into Thursday we have two high impact news drivers at 8:30, and then another one at 10, and then Friday 8:30 in the morning. So it looks like 8:30 and 10 are our big time slots this week. 10 o'clock today, 8:30 and 10 on Thursday, and 8:30 on Friday. All right, so we'll keep that in mind as we're looking at entry models this morning, specifically the 10 o'clock news driver that's coming. So we have the opening bell in just 10 minutes, and then we'll have the news driver 30 minutes after that. All right, JR, Robin, Dorcas, Ladarius, good morning. How's it going, everyone? Dorcas, you must be across the pond. You're saying good afternoon. All right, see, we've already touched the constant encroachment of the daily wick. And that is the daily candle from Thursday, I believe. Yep, Thursday of last week. So we could see a retracement of some kind here, which actually is what we're seeing. We saw it pass yesterday around noontime, again overnight, well, this morning around 4 o'clock, and now it's trading lower. So we'll see if it gets into this area here or back down to the new week opening gap, which is this lime green area down at 18,875. Oh, new week opening gap. Sorry, Robin. This one right here. It's called NWOG/NDOG, and it's by Kryptonite. Now, let me go inside and see if I can find it. Okay, it's called Weekly Opening Gap by Kryptonite. Hey, Ray, good morning. What's up? Here are the settings I have, Robin. So on the weekly, I want to see the last 4 weeks, and on the daily, I see the last 7. But you get to select however you want to see it. So the way it shows is the current weekly one is going to be like a lime green or whatever color you set, and all the previous weeks will come in gray. Oh, I didn't realize I could do consequent encroachment. Sure, why not? And the same in a new daily opening gap. It's going to be like this kind of yellowish color, orange color, and then old ones will be gray as well. So EB, what's up? Those gaps are the new week opening gap is obviously the gap between the closure on Friday and then the reopening on Sunday. You know, sometimes there can be a gap between when it closes and when it reopens. And so what happens is you'll see price retracing back to those levels throughout the week. Or if it's a daily gap, you'll see it retrace back to that level several times during the day. It's more or less when you see price moving in a certain direction, that could be target setting for you as where it is likely to be moving to. Old Triple C, what's up? Vivian, good morning. Milad, Kay Gonzalez, what's up, everyone? Yeah, we do believe. Hey, Josie, good morning. Caesar, what's up? All right, here's the opening bell. 15 seconds. So, so I like that one. I hate this one. This is a bearish fair value, a bearish breaker on the hourly. From Thursday to 23rd at midnight down to 3 a.m. Set up the breaker trading below, and now we're just now trading back to it. A consequent encroachment yesterday at noon, traded lower. Now we traded even higher into this area above to balance that price range, and traded lower once again. So I'll wait until after 10 until we have our next news event and see where price is trading at that point. See whether this hourly bearish breaker, 15-minute bullish breaker. is more relevant at that time. For everyone who just joined, we do have a high impact news driver at 10 o'clock. So we're waiting for that. In the meantime, we just finished our first 5-minute candle here in the opening bell. maybe as I was drawing this, it's already tapped in. Yep. Yeah, Ray, we have several that were created, several breakers that were created on the move up. And so I'm going to wait until news gets announced in 20 minutes, and then we'll see where to go from there. Yeah, but we did definitely get a rejection. If, let me draw that one back up. The one that you mentioned in pre-market. Baz, or good morning. What's up? Welcome to the channel. Deepak, Mia, what's up? It's 8:50. Okay. So Wednesday afternoon and then Thursday. All right, Vivian. Yeah, we have something coming up in about 15 minutes. Push down to the new week opening gap. And I wouldn't be surprising, honestly, since we had a abbreviated trading session yesterday, which didn't include the U.S. market. I wouldn't be surprised if we basically do a reset, trade back to where we opened up, and start over again. We're back at Wednesday's new day opening gap. So this is 1800 on Wednesday, the reopening. I believe this was the day of Nvidia's release. I'm not sure. But there was a decent sized gap. Looks like about 40 to 50 points from the close to the open on last Wednesday. And that's what we're trading back into right now. So it looks like our 1 hour breaker, bearish breaker, unicorn actually set up at 9:30, traded into it and started to flush. All right, consequent encroachment of the new day opening gap right now. That's where we are. Well, that's what I'm sorry. That's where the low was. That's where it traded to. It's all right, Armando. It's okay. Laughter, good job. You caught that? Nice. Yeah, I saw it though with the 1 hour bearish breaker, and I noticed that we had created it on Thursday and not traded back to it until the reopen on Sunday and into yesterday morning. But I was waiting for the news event, so I wasn't looking to enter the market this morning. But good for you. Great job in seeing that and catching that drop. So it looks like consequent encroachment of the new day opening gap from last Thursday is holding so far. Not sure if you guys can see that, but it's inside of a much larger 1 hour bullish fair value gap. And since I saw a mention of session highs and lows, that reminds me I need to put those up on my screen, as well as the 8:30 and midnight values. So let me go ahead and set that up. And that does it for our session highs and lows. There are none available at the moment. We do have New York high and low coming up in 5 minutes once we get our opening bell here. Well, not opening bell, once we get to our next news event. But I can go ahead and mark up the New York high because we're pretty far away from that at the moment. Oops. Sorry. Yep. Yeah, you're right, Shark. That was from Thursday. I'm sorry, Wednesday. It was from Wednesday. Wednesday of last week. We just traded to consequent encroachment of that gap. All right, everyone. We have news in 2.5 minutes. I'm gonna run and grab a refill to my coffee, and I'll be back hopefully before the news event is announced. right? Just in the nick of time. So let's see what happens during this news event here. So New York low is still intact. We have our New York high up at 18,936. Yep, I'm following you, Deepak. Definitely following you. And if we get below that, we'll move lower. Let's see. What am I thinking? Yeah, Shark, I'm looking right now at where we just touched down is the low. I'm looking at that level. I'm also looking at 18,750. If we get below 18,750, then it's basically around 18,600 is the next level I'm looking at. Yep, so about 100. So yeah, if we lose a level, then it's about 100, 150 points below that. That's my next key level. And then about 150 points below that is the next level. So far from the breaker above, we pushed from 18,930 down to 840. So we pushed about 90 points from the breaker and opening bell this morning. Now we have our news event. We'll see if we break this New York low here. And then what does that do? Does that send price pushing higher, or does that pretty much open the floodgates for it to go lower? Okay, we have the dollar just now partially creating a bullish breaker. So we'll see what that means for the dollar. Hasn't confirmed it yet, but it's definitely moving in that direction. We'll see where it is at the end of the hour. And we're up at 880. Let's go and just check and see what was the release of news there. What was the results? All right, we can see the consumer confidence much higher than the forecast. And we see actual grade and forecast is good for currency. So we should see the dollar moving higher, which should have the inverse relationship on our indexes based on surveyed households. Financial confidence is a leading indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for majority of overall economic activity. Survey of around 3,000 households. Okay, there we have it. We take a quick peek at the dollar as well as our other indexes. So, sorry, let me fix this. All right. So one thing I noticed here on the hourly is that when we shot down, we had our protected higher right here, which I'll show you in a second. We had traded above the protected high, flipping back bullish yesterday around lunchtime. Traded above it again, closing, right? And in doing so, when we first broke it yesterday, our protected low was down here. But then we retraced and then made an even higher high, which then brought our protected low all the way up here, which we just broke on the move down last hour, closed below this low here. So we flipped back bearish just recently on the 1 hour, right here during the 9 o'clock hour. Now on the other indices, we never took over the high here. So we never flipped bullish. So there was never a reason to flip back bearish. It's been bearish the entire time on S&P. S&P was getting close, but it's still there. And the Dow, just like last week, the Dow hasn't even made a bullish move, hasn't even attempted one. So now we're all back in sync. We're all bearish once again. And we can see that on the first, all the way to the far left, that consumer survey not only is propelling the dollar higher during this hour after the news release, but it already was starting to build that momentum during the 9 o'clock hour after the opening bell. And we can see from the formation right here where we had this push higher, break lower, and now a swing even higher than the previous high. If we can close above, then we have our breaker, a bullish breaker on the 1 hour here in the dollar. And that could show us that we're going to have a prolonged bearish momentum here on the indices, or maybe at least for the day or so, for a few hours. So we'll continue to monitor that, but it looks like we are flipping bullish on the dollar and going to have some momentum pushing higher. Whether we go for these relative equal highs at 104.75 or something higher, it does look like the dollar is going to push a little bit higher here. So we'll continue to monitor that, and we'll also look for bearish conditions out of our indices, even though right now it looks like it's pushing pretty high as far as bullish conditions are concerned. But it could just be a rebalance here up to the wick. So let's look at when we get to 18,900. Let's look and see how price reacts there. All right, I'm going to flip back over and pull the screen back up. Milad, you're right. We are towards the end of the month. Keep that in mind. We do have just a couple more days this month. Okay, so that's Friday. Friday's the last day of the month. far as the New York range is concerned, we're now looking at premium. We're in premium pricing. We just passed equilibrium at 18,888. We just experienced immediate rebalance on the 1 hour. Yep. Oh, okay, Milad. Yep, 935. You're right. We have the New York high sitting there. If we're going to be bearish, I wouldn't be surprised if that 935 high stays open. So I wouldn't. So I'm not going to wait on that level to be taken unless we're bullish. And mainly it's because I see a breaker, a bearish breaker sitting in the way. So it would likely trade into that breaker and fail. And I just drew that breaker here. It's set up between the midnight open and 18,900. 3-minute. There we go. Oh, thank you, Deepak. Switch back to the 5-minute. Looks like we're getting some pretty sizable wicks here. So price is trying to find its footing. Go back and measure this New York range again. It's just, I think we're still close to equilibrium here. Yep, right at 50%. 18,888. I remember it now. So we have bearish breaker above on the 3-minute, a larger bearish breaker on the 1 hour. And then below, we have the new day opening gap here in gray from last Wednesday, sitting on top of a 1 hour bullish fair value gap. And this lime green area is a new week opening gap of this week. So Sunday, 1800 created this gap. And we just traded to consequent encroachment of that. And now we're rejecting back. Looks like we're going to retest the bearish breaker above the 3-minute one. So far, we are getting a rejection out of the breaker above. We'll watch it from the 5-minute here until for about 20 minutes, and then we'll switch down to the 1 minute during the macro. Okay, we are inside of OTE. So OTE really starts at the breaker, 61.8%. 78% is at 18,915. So basically at the 1 hour fair value gap is where it stops. So we're trading inside of OTE now. There is a 3-minute fair value gap within OTE. So we'll see if that rejects price or price continues to push a little higher. So far, the opening 30 minutes of this hour has brought a bullish candle to both Nasdaq and the S&P. We have no candle body and a very small range for the Dow. Dow's not really pushing hard this morning. We had a fairly sizable bullish candle, which now is rejecting. So we have a long wick with a bearish candle on the dollar. So this next half hour will be interesting to see how the dollar closes out, as well as how the indices close out this hour. Which candle are you referring to? Which 1 minute fair value gap, Milad? .5 minute. Would this be an invert fair value gap? $9.44. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, Milad. It is holding. It just traded back to consequent encroachment. But you're right, it is holding. See it rejecting now. Yeah, folks, I'm still not taking a position. I'm still waiting for more information. Amen. Good morning. Mm. A bullish fair value gap at 10 on the 5 minute. There is one. Yes, right here. So yes, you're right. This is a bullish fair value gap here at 5 minute. I try not to draw the lower time frames unless there's a reason to. Like on this one, I drew the inverse just because we had a subscriber talking about how the inverse is holding. So I drew it up there. I try to really just focus on the hourly and above, and the ones below I will use only if it's inside of a breaker like this one where it's part of the unicorn setup, things like that. Otherwise, the screen just gets really busy. And so on the lower time frames, I do try to refrain from drawing them, and they get created and invalidated fairly often, so it's hard to keep up as well. But you are right, that is a bullish fair value gap there. Oh, I see what you're saying, Milad. Okay, so you do one micro with a larger stop loss and then close it in profit. Yep. As in your case, that 5 minute fair value gap that you mentioned, it's been tapped into on the 1015 candle, the 1020 candle, and then just recently the 1035 candle. So they all tapped into that fair value gap you were mentioning. The last candle, the last 5 minute candle, just barely actually, but it got in there. And we see now a rejection out of the area. So it's so far picked up 12 or 13 points. Okay, we're now back inside of the 3 minute bearish breaker. We've now traded into its 7 consecutive 5 minute candles here. And for whatever reason, it's only willing to push about 25 points lower. Yes, Ladarius is a breaker. Not necessarily. The blue zone is going to be a bearish or a bullish breaker. It's just a so you have to look at where it starts and where it finishes, and that'll let you know whether you have a bullish or bearish. Especially if I put a fair value gap inside of it, that also gives it away. So if you find, like in this case, you know this is a bearish breaker because of the bearish fair value gap there. But if you ever get stuck and you can't figure out exactly which direction it's pushing, if you look at the range here and where it starts, you can see it goes from high to low. Then we have a swing higher. And then we have a break below that closes, confirming the breaker. So this would be a bearish one. Oh, Miss Goody, sorry about that. Good. Micros and was on minis. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can only imagine if you went in with a bunch of contracts. Ew. It's all right, Miss Goody. We'll rebound. Go ahead, let those emotions out, pull yourself back together, and then we'll look for a better setup, some way for you to recover your account. Yep. Absolutely, little at a time until you get back to where you were, and then you can get back into your old strat and start looking uh, for bigger plays. All right, macro coming 10:50 to 11:10 in just 3 minutes. Oh, okay. So you average, so Milad, you average your entries, you average cost, or I forget what they call it. So if it goes against you, you add another one, and eventually you end up having an average lower entry which then it becomes positive. And then if you can take it partially to where you thought it was going to go to begin with, you're in a good place. Right. That's nice. Okay. We are still pushing higher. I'm looking up and we're getting a big rejection still from the dollar. So the dollar took that news event and it did push higher initially, but it ran into a bearish fair value gap where it started pushing lower. And we're now into the macro. So let's switch that. Let's see if during this macro, the New York high falls and we make a new high here. Yeah, we're inside of this 3-minute breaker here. But as I mentioned earlier, we tapped into it every 5 minutes this hour, and we couldn't go further than 25 points lower than where we currently are, or from where the breaker started. So that leads me to believe the breaker's not that strong. Or definitely the price doesn't want to go lower at this moment. So what we may end up doing is making a return to the previous breaker that started the fall at the opening bell. So it traded in right here, and then everything started to go lower. And so we may end up invalidating this breaker, the 3-minute one, and tapping into the 1 hour. But the 1 hour, we have not tapped in at a consequent encroachment or anything higher than where we currently at the New York high. So it may trade higher than that. Lackluster macro so far. Sometimes we do get these opening sessions or the morning session after a bank holiday that's like this. All right, we see now a closure above the 8:30 open, now pushing towards the midnight open next at 9:27, which it just tapped into. New York high at 9:36 is up next. It's also at an equal high point, so it's a good chance that that gets taken. All right, let's take a peek over and look and see what the other indices are doing. We're heading into our final hour here. It's now 11 o'clock. Let's just get an idea of what we may be facing for this final hour of this morning. All right, here we go. So on the dollar side, so we did see the news event push the dollar higher. We have three bearish fair value gaps here. Dollar was here at the start of the hour. It pushed out of the first one, through the second one, into the third one. And then before the hour closed, we saw it retrace all the way back below all three and close below. fact, let's measure this up and see where we are right now. All right, we're currently at equilibrium now of basically the morning range. Right. Once again, not a lot to talk about with the Dow. It's just kind of been trading slowly into lower prices, most likely pushing towards this bullish fair value gap below. So we'll see how the Dow reacts and responds when it gets down there, and that's at 38,920. As far as S&P is concerned, something very similar there. We saw it trade lower. The last hour, it did start pushing bullish. It was a small bullish fair value gap below that it traded into for the second consecutive hour. It actually traded below. However, it recovered, rejected, and traded much higher, closing about halfway between the bullish fair value gap and the bearish one. Right, and over to NQ. Very similar to what we saw on S&P. So this really started last week, Friday. Friday around lunchtime, we saw us trade into the bearish fair value gap, creating a bullish one on the way up, trading back down to the bullish one as we opened up Sunday night, push higher, pretty much sat inside of the bearish fair value gap above us since yesterday noontime. And then we saw the collapse this morning at the opening bell. So the opening bell 9:30, it traded into a fair value gap within the fair value gap. So push lower, back into the bullish one, push higher. Now we're back into the bearish one. And now we see a slight rejection opening up this hour. So we'll see how far down it wants to push. And then where it finds its footing or its support and gets back up into the bearish fair value gap above us. All right, so we do see the opposite of what we were seeing on the dollar. So we do see that inverse relationship we were looking for, but we do not have Nasdaq, S&P, and the Dow in sync. And so that's one of the issues for a price to move quickly, is that it should be in sync, or when it gets in sync, you'll see price race towards a liquidity target. Switch back over now. So we did not see the New York Open fall yet. We traded, well, not the New York Open, the New York high. We traded to the midnight open and rejected, and now we're back down. This line I put here is the level I wanted to see price trade back to after taking off and making a new high above this swing high. I just wanted to see price trade back down here to balance price a little bit, and we see now it's already hit it twice with wicks and rejected above. And so let's see if that continues. This might consolidate. It doesn't break the clear bullish candle. You're right. And Deepak or Milad, we're gonna go down just to ruin people's longs. Hey Queen, good morning. What's up? Hi Johan, good morning. Yeah, here on this low time frame, you can see we kind of had for a small period of time, we had seek and destroy conditions. See, with a high to a low to a higher high to a lower low to a higher high. So during this time, so around 10 until around 10:30, it was just taking people out of the market with a new high and new low. Yeah. Leaning at this moment, I'm leaning for it to push lower. All right, I'm going to jump back up to the 5 minute here. We're getting close to the end of our macro. Okay, so I see this 5 minute fair value gap has now been traded pretty much all the way through. Okay, so you shorted from roughly the 8:30 open. You're looking for 8.95. You almost got it. Okay, another 3 or 4 points. All right, Deepak. Hopefully you're able to reach your TP. Hey, Holly, good morning. Oh, from Montreal, welcome. Good to have you. How long have you been trading, Holly? Mm-mm. Easy target, John, would be the New York high at 936. But obviously you have some other fair value gaps above that you just want to be aware of. You could also have a trade back to this level, 964. Yeah, consequent encroachment of this fair value gap inside at 949. So either 936, 950, or 964 would probably be your easiest targets. Okay, Johan, yeah, you're almost there. 945, yeah, that's not bad. All right, let me move this bearish breaker out of the way. Unless we see price break lower, I'll stretch it back over. All right, everyone, if you're enjoying the stream this morning, if you could click the thumbs up button for me and like the video, that would be much appreciated. Also, if you're brand new, if this is your first time here, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and make sure that going forward, you're getting all the invitations and reminders of when we go live. We didn't have a tap back into the bearish breaker here during the macro at 1055 candle. You go back down to the 1 minute and see how many times it tapped in. Okay, just tap once at 1058. Came into the breaker once. And broke down about 20 points here. All right, I'll stretch this back over since it still appears to be relevant. Vivian, no. At the current moment, I'm still waiting. We do have on a higher time frame, we have bearish breakers here, and so that's why I'm thinking that things are going to move south, even though it's slow moving at the moment. But the fact that it's not moving lower or higher, it's not good enough for an entry for me at the moment. Um, I've mentioned this earlier. Sometimes after a bank holiday, price needs to recalibrate itself, and so it takes that first trading day back to really get price to get back in sync. And so I'm not surprised that it's showing both directions. Not to mention, it probably needs to shake out some people who took entries yesterday and are still in. That's why we saw this morning it traded back to the opening value of Sunday evening. Yep. But the way things are looking right now for me, it's probably going to be something that I'll wait until this afternoon to take a look at. We'll see how we close out this hour. We'll also see what happens during lunch and see if it's any cleaner and clearer this afternoon. Yeah, yeah, Queen. I would say I was looking at the same internal range, and with internal range, a lot of times I look for it to trade into a fair value gap, but I'm not always 100% sure when it's met whatever target it's looking for internally. And if when it pushed lower, if that counts as external range liquidity, then internal range will be looking at this fair value gap above us. We haven't really traded into that yet. So I can see why you guys were looking for longs up into that area. But for me, I see this overall area and I'm thinking it needs to short somewhere in here. And so I'm a little skeptical about going long here for myself. Here on the 5 minute though, we do have all these highs have not been eclipsed. I'm sorry, the lows on its way up building here. So this may be a situation where we trade up and then you see price fall, sweeping low 1, 2, 3, and down to the New York low. So this might be a situation, yeah, where we take the high and then we shoot down and take the low. All right, let's see. Sorry, Ladarius, let me get to this. So you said on 5 minute, why choose the 840 high instead of the 830 high? Let's see. That is, so I took this on the 3 minute, but you want to pick a swing point. So it's going to be the swing high down to the low. So that's the reason for choosing the high, but I took it off of the 3 minute. So let's go to the 3 minute. Okay. And you can see here, I took it from the high point. So it's the 839 candle down to the 845 candle. So let me just slide this over 1, 2, 3. Oops. Yep. So it's this 3 candle sequence. It put in a low, and then from that low, then led to this high, which then led to this low right here at 936, which confirmed the breaker at 936. This actually could have been your entry right afterwards at 939 to take it lower. But here, since we're already inside of a 1 hour bearish fair value gap, I would have been looking for a bearish breaker because of that foundation there. And so to get the bearish breaker, you start from a high to a low. So you always start at a high if you're looking for a bearish breaker. Now, if I was looking for a bullish one, then maybe I would have started here, took it to this high, saw it break lower, and now I'd be looking for it to trade higher and close. And then from this low to this high would be the new breaker, which essentially is the same size. Right. So we get a close up here. Then we have this low actually to this high up there. So it'd be low to high, shoot lower, go higher, close, trade back in and go higher. So depends on what you're looking for. But since we had a 1 hour bearish fair value gap, then I would be looking for price to trade in on the 1 hour and be looking for it to fail and go lower. In order to make it go lower, I'm looking for a breaker on a lower time frame. So not on the 1 hour. So that's when you drop down to the 5 minute, anywhere from the 1 to the 5, and you're looking for a bearish setup. So you're always looking for a high to a low, to a higher high, to a lower low. All right. Hopefully that made sense, Ladarius. Yep, James, I have not taken any this morning. No, nothing has looked really clean enough for me to want an entry. At 9:30, yeah, I generally don't take opening bell entries, but also we had a red folder at 10, so I was waiting until 10 for the red folder to come out and then look for entries. After that, nothing really has looked like a great entry at that time. So I haven't taken anything. Waiting for more confirmation. Yep, right on, Queen. All right, Johan got a little impatient. 9:20ish. Okay. Yeah, I think they're banking on the fact that there was little trading, if any, yesterday, that people are a little impatient today and chomping at the bit to get back in. So I think that's what's happening. So it's gonna try to trick you up this morning, try to get everyone into a trade because they know you're just waiting to jump in. And then we'll probably get something better to use this afternoon. Back at the midnight open, so we're still about 10 points away from the New York high. These are lows I was speaking about. You see all these lows touching the trend line. Maybe once we reach the New York high, then we'll get a break of the trend line and then you'll see all these lows get attacked. Yeah, James, it takes a lot of practice. And even then, you still mess up from time to time and you have to get yourself back on track. Right, New York high. Oh, about a point away. Closure above would invalidate the setup here. All right, there's your New York high taken. All right, Deepak. Catch you tomorrow. Have a good one. High, low, higher, high, lower, low. 5-minute 11. The bearish breaker. Yes, Robin. If we get a push lower and a close below, then yes, that would turn into a bearish breaker. But we still have this one that has not been invalidated yet, which is the exact same area. So I would probably just use that one, the one from 840. All right, we had this push above, but it was just a wick and it came back down and closed inside. All right, now we see the trend line is now showing that it's no longer the trend. And so now, as I mentioned, we could see some of these swing lows taken out en route to the New York low being tapped. But we'll see. Not a guarantee. But let's see if 11:30 as a midpoint of the hour turns into a reversal point. We see price push lower. As we look at the 1 minute, I wonder if this right here turns into a bearish breaker. Right here. Trade higher, trade lower, close, trade back in. Wick, body stayed inside, push lower. Yeah, this morning's price action really doesn't lend towards confidence in these setups, since price has stayed inside of this same range. Little unicorn here on the 1 minute. Sit here on the 1 minute, not until we get to the macro at the end. We got 10 more minutes. And then we'll come back. We'll revisit the 1 minute that I just drew up. We'll also look at this 3 minute, see if it's still in play. Oh, Holly, that's with Topstep, and that's a $50,000 account. So there are definitely funded companies out there, or sorry, prop firms out there. Between there's Apex, there's Mind Funded Futures, there's Topstep. I have affiliate links in my description if you want to read up on some of those. There's also many videos on YouTube comparing the different ones to each other. And so it's just if I have that link there just in case if somebody wanted to become a funded trader. But 50,000 account, you have to make 3,000 in your evaluation account before losing 2,000. If you lose 2,000, then you fail the challenge. If you're able to make the 3,000 with making no more than 1,500 per day, then you pass the challenge. Apex doesn't have the rule of no more than 50% of your total can be made in one day. You can make it all in one day on Apex if you like, but then they have other rules. So you'll have to look at the different prop firms to see what their rules are and decide if you would like to take one of the funded challenges to try to become a funded trader. 15-second unicorn melod. Okay, got it. like that 1 minute didn't hold. Let me go back. Well, hasn't been invalidated yet. We have to cross over 940 before invalidating. So we'll see. Oops, let's take out the New York high since it's already been traded to. Bullish breaker was confirmed at 11:20. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm even content if we go through the entire day and we get to the end and price finally through overnight hours or into tomorrow morning tips its hand, and then we can see what we can expect for the rest of the week. I'm okay with that as well. Again, knowing that we came off of a bank holiday yesterday, I'm okay with today being a no trade day. So we'll see if it gives us something that we can actually use and it's high probability, then I'm absolutely going to take it. Otherwise, I'm going to price read for today. Oh, tape read. I'm sorry, tape read for today. All right, and looking at the last hour or two, We've had bullish candles on S&P and Nasdaq, and we've had bearish candles on the Dow. So they are still not aligning, not synced up together. So again, we'll watch them throughout lunch, and we'll come back the afternoon and we'll look and see if they're back in sync, as well as having the inverse relationship with the dollar. All right, let's get down to the 1 minute. We're getting close to our macro. Oh, get rid of this 1 minute breaker since we don't really need it. We have a 3 minute below. We have the hour above. So it's not a huge deal. It's just more clutter in the space. Hey, Wale, what's up? Good morning or afternoon. Didn't know where you are. Yeah, Vivian, we hope it is much better in the afternoon. So I will see you back this afternoon. Thanks for joining this morning. Oh, Wale, SoCal. Okay, got it. All right, let's get rid of this trend line here. All right, just made equal highs here. However, we do have this little slope here on highs where we see price pushing lower. Looking at the dollar. So right now, the last 5 minutes or so has not really moved. So for the hour, it's bearish. But for the last several minutes, because it traded into a bullish fair value gap, it's just kind of sitting there. And so I'm looking to see if the dollar wants to flip bullish for these last couple minutes heading into the next hour. And if we'll see the opposite happening here on NQ, where we'll see it push lower just for these next couple minutes, then it flips over to 12 o'clock and then we see the bearish condition. All right, so we're down to our final minute of the morning session here. I want to thank you all for joining today. I really do appreciate it. Especially after the holiday, I know people are tired if you were traveling or just, trying to get back together if you have your normal work day coming from a long weekend. So I thank you for joining this morning. I know price action hasn't really been favorable or given us a lot of entries. So, it happens. It's like that sometimes. But on your way out, if you can make sure you hit the like button, that would be much appreciated. And if you're new, I know there were a couple people who I saw in the chat today for the very first time. Those people obviously are already subscribed because they're in the chat. But if you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. Make sure that you find out whenever we're going live. And then also you get reminders. If you forget, it'll let you know that we just went live just in case you want to jump on. So make sure you do that. Like and subscribe on your way out. And we'll be back in an hour at 1300 to start the afternoon session. So till then, everyone, I will see you then. Got an hour. Talk to you later.